guys, it's your girl Annie. Thank you so much for joining me here on this channel. I'm going to be showing you today how I created this eyeshadow look with the Cabana Club palette from ColourPop. This is a discontinued palette, but you can use any existing shadows that you have that are similar to these shades. So I pretty much used every single color in here except for the more neutral tones. So the two brown shades at the bottom I did not use, and I also did not use these two more neutral shades up top. Literally every other shade in the palette has been used to create this look, and what inspired me was actually the cover of this palette. I love a rainbow eyeshadow moment, and I hope you guys do too, but we are going to dip right into the palette and let's go ahead and get into the video. I'm going to start with the lightest shade of the pink right here, which is Bikini. I'm kind of happy that they didn't continue to create this palette and try to keep selling it because it's really not that great of a palette. But again, I wanted to play with it. I did purchase it with my own money. I wanted to create a look. Me and my friend Stacy, who's also here on YouTube and on Instagram, she and I wanted to collab together, and so we purchased some items from ColourPop. Her and I both picked out this palette together without reading any reviews. I don't really know what her look that she created looks like. She hasn't shared her look with me, and I had an eye infection for like a week. Now that I was able to play with makeup, I'm a little bit inspired and I wanted to play with some colors since spring was around the corner. Right now it's like the middle of March. I just really was not impressed so far with what I'm seeing from this palette, and you can see like the color build up, but I really have to like work on building up the color. Automatically, like, I just wasn't impressed with this. It just takes so long for me to build up the color. Everything is like super powdery. If you were to put your finger in here, it feels rough. Like even the shimmers, and you know, for ColourPop to not have good shimmers, it's kind of crazy. But anyways, I'm going to dip into a lighter shade. Basically, I'm going to work with the lightest shades first, and that way I can build up some of the darker shades. I'm going to have to build this up quite a bit. But I'm going to dip into the yellow shade now, and just going to pop that into the inner corners of my eye. The yellow actually isn't so bad, which I'm glad, because that's the only yellow other than in the James Charles palette. Like, I don't have a yellow ColourPop. I'm a little bit happy that that shade at least was decent. But I mean, again, like, I do have to dip in here and like look at the powder kick up on this. Like, ColourPop, what's up? And then I'm gonna use Limelight to also bring some dimension to the yellow and pop that on here as well. I'm gonna dip into the Bahama Mama, and I'm just gonna blend that with my finger because, you know, with ColourPop shadows, I feel like the best way to apply them is with your finger sometimes. But like, look at that, it doesn't even really pick up much pigment. So we're just gonna have to work on building that for a little bit. And I hate having to complain about a palette, but if it's not good, it's not good, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like when I'm blending it, it just feels like I'm blending the pigments away, and then I have to go back into the colors again to reapply, just so that way it pops. Like this side doesn't even have the orange. Like, if you guys see what I'm talking about, it's kind of sad because I really love ColourPop and I hate talking crap about them. But I mean, it is what it is, and if it's not a good palette, literally, I will let you guys know it's not a good palette. And again, this is discontinued, so it's not like you can buy it anyways, but like, the reason why we picked this is because of these colors, and I do love the color story. I just wish it was easier to work with these shades instead of having to work so hard to build them up or to blend them, because again, like, it does kind of fade when I'm blending in some of the shades, and I have to really work ultra hard to build up pigment. I've had better experiences with ColourPop, so this experience that I'm having here is just not something that is ideal in my opinion. I'm gonna put Cha 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 and Pool Party on the outer edge, and with that, I'm not going to use my finger because it's going to look muddy, so I do have to use a brush for that part of the eyeshadow. So I'm going to start off with the purple, and then I'm going to blend the blue into that as well. With the purple, I'm using, this is like a Wet n Wild brush that I've had for a while now, but I'm just gonna go in and pop that purple up on my eyes. Like, look at me, I'm dipping this in so hard and it's like not picking up good pigment. I feel like ColourPop kind of needs to slow down on the launches more and really focus on quality, because the good thing about ColourPop is that it's inexpensive. But if it's inexpensive and you're not enjoying the application process and you really got to build up the color, like the fact that I dug in so deeply into this purple and it's not giving me the pigment that I'm wanting. This is not even showing up remotely the same color as what it's supposed to be in pan. It's more of like a pink, which is why I decided to go with a pink lip. It's just not great. Other than that though, do you guys watch any like K movies or series on Netflix? I really like a couple shows that Netflix had recently launched, and one of them is a zombie one. I think it's called All of Us Are Dead. Have you guys watched The Silent Sea on Netflix? It is one of my favorites, and my husband and I really binge watched that show. So basically the premise of the show is they are running out of water on Earth, and so they are sending a bunch of people to the moon to find water. And I'm not gonna ruin it for you guys, but it's an excellent show. If you guys are into sci-fi at all, I definitely recommend that one. With the same brush, I'm just gonna go in to the blue now and blend that in. To the purple. The blue isn't so bad. It's just, again, like it's chalky. It's not a creamy like type of shadow, you know what I mean? It's just not great, which is kind of a shame because I really like the color story. It's just not showing up very well. I have to dip into the palette like a gazillion times to build up the color the way that it looks right now on my eyes. I'm gonna go back into Cha Cha Cha, which is this purple shade here, and I'm gonna blend it more into the bottom lash line just to try to build up some of that pigmentation a little bit. I'm gonna smudge it a little bit further downwards. Going back into Pool Party, which is this navy blue, I am going to take that and run it around the lower lash line a little bit. So we're already kind of building up the color. Again, you guys just have to dip in to the shades a lot. Like, not impressed ColourPop. If I was to use the Morphe James Charles palette, like I would have gotten this pigmentation built up way faster. It is still chalky, but it's at least more pigmented than this palette. The results, I guess, is not bad. It's just having to work so hard to build up the color is kind of annoying. Like if this was something that was a recent drop, for sure I would not recommend this to you guys. One thing that I wanted to say though, so this color that's right here, the Copa Cutie, I wanted to make it a little bit more punchy, so I'm gonna take some of the shadow onto my brush, and this is just like a regular e.l.f. brush, you know, like one of those $3 ones, but I happen to really like the e.l.f. brushes, like regardless of the price. I really like their brushes and I enjoy using them, but using a little bit of Fix Plus on the brush and I'm putting the shadow on it as well, and it just gives it a little bit more life to the shade itself. That way I'm able to build up a little bit more, again, punchiness to that shade. I'm just tapping on the pigment as well to kind of like blend it in. So that's what it's looking like so far. I'm gonna take my time on trying to build up that color because I want that to be like the standout color, just because it's like, you know, due to the placement of the eyeshadow, like I kind of just wanted to build that up. So that's what that looks like. I'm just gonna tap it in with my pinky finger. This is what it looks like right now. Again, I'm gonna need to build up some of the purple. The purple, unfortunately, is one of the colors I was a little bit excited about. Unfortunately for me, it's just not very pigmented, or it's not very blendable. I don't know. Basically, it just fades away every time I try to blend it into a different shade. So I gotta reapply it a little bit on my eyelid. It's being a little bit stubborn. I'm gonna go back into Bikini, which is this pink shade here, and kind of just add a little bit of blend to purple and kind of just buff out the shade a little bit. I'm gonna do that on both sides. So this is what that looks like. At this point, I'm pretty happy, I guess, with the colors. As happy as I could possibly be at this point anyways. I might just build up the blues just a little bit more to match the other side. And the outer corner of my eyes has been watering all day. I don't know if it's due to allergies or if it's the eyeshadow itself, but that's kind of going on this side as well. But I kind of had to touch it up a couple of times to help that pigment stay on. But that's what this is currently looking like right now. I'm going to use a bluish green kind of color, and I'm going to pop that onto the bottom lash line just to help the blue that I'm going to apply stay on and be more pigmented. It just gives it a little bit of a base, I guess. And take this blue here, which is called Cool Off, and apply that on the liner that I just put on. I'm kind of blending it downwards as well, so that way the pigment pops a little bit more. That's what that looks like now. I'm gonna take some yellow and try to take it into the bottom lash line a little bit with that same flat brush. I always like a good flat brush. They're some of my favorite brushes to use. I'm gonna add it to the side a little bit too, just because it's not so punchy, and I kind of want it to pop a little bit, so that way it kind of blends, kind of turns into like a green when you blend it into the blue. But yeah, if you notice, like that orange shade that I kind of put on is kind of fading, so I'm gonna put, and this color is just so finicky. It's very similar to Copa Cutie, so to get that color to actually show up is kind of difficult. Yeah, well, I tried, and this is what it looks like. Anyways, so I'm gonna add my eyeliner, and I'm gonna finish off the look with lashes, and we can go from there. So we're gonna pop some lashes on and see what happens. Me personally, I like these liner type of lash glues. This is from Duo. I just popped on the lashes, and I feel like it really just ties together the look. I did also fix my eyeliner. It looks like there was some shadow fallout that kind of created like a line on my other eye. So I fixed that, and this is what the shadow now looks like. And the result is pretty. Again, I just had to build up. The purple just kept fading away. It is a nice look, but yeah, I'm actually quite a fan of how it turned out. Because I like the color so much, I probably will still keep reaching for this palette. It is such an aesthetic palette, but it's really not that good of a shadow palette because it's such a dry formula. It's super chalky and there's tons of fallout. This is the first time I've used this palette, and for it to look as beat up as it does. For me personally, I'm usually really good about keeping my eyeshadow palette super nice. I did have to really just dip my brush in there vehemently actually. So the way that the look turned out with this palette, like I do like the color, so I will continue to use it. I'm sorry guys, that was my dog. She kind of hears everything. She's got like little satellite ears that kind of go to space, but regardless of the fact, I hope you guys like my video, and if you do, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do reviews and different makeup looks with high-end and drugstore makeup, and if that's something you guys are interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.